We kept him waiting a minute. It's going live now. You're live. All right. I believe now we are live. So thank you everyone for joining. We have quite an audience. I'm Jeff Bisti.
I'm Misty Decker.
There she is, just off mic and just off camera. So we're going to be walking you through some of the Master of the Mainframe Part 1, answering any questions you have, and showing you lucky Mac people who updated to Catalina how you can use the open source c3270. I see some yeps. That's good. All right, where should we start here?
Jeff, you're in charge.
Okay.
I just promised to type. I didn't plan on having any answers.
Okay. Well, let me take a sip out of my favorite coffee cup here. Oh, wrong side. There we go.
I made a mocha.
Okay. I can smell it. It smells nice.
I brewed coffee and I added in hot chocolate because I'm cheap like that. It's a quick and easy mocha without having to drive to Starbucks.
See, you're smart like that. Let's start with the first thing we talked about there is the c3270. So if you updated your Mac to the latest version, and I might go long on this, just hit me if I do. Macintosh or Apple officially dropped support for 32-bit stuff on the latest version. The no-cost terminal emulator that we were telling people to use or kind of encouraging people to use was built using the Carbon APIs, which are 32-bit, no longer supported. As of today, nobody has really stepped forward and made a 64-bit version, which is kind of understandable. There are a number of commercially available programs, like trials you can use for Mac terminal emulators. You can just search Mac 3270, and you'll find a couple, but they are not like no cost. There's just trials. So if you're curious in evaluating various emulators out there, you can do it. But if you want to do it the right way, we can jump on the c3270 route. So within the realm of terminal emulators, this is the kind of the one that the people on Linux like to use, this X3270. The problem with the X3270, even though it runs on Mac, is that it requires like a whole X Windows environment. And if you've ever set that up on Mac, it's a bit of a headache. Fortunately, there is this alternate version called c3270, which uses the curses libraries, kind of just like drawing text in different areas on the screen. That one works. While we work on another workaround, we're going to use c3270. And to make it even easier, we have a script out there that you can download and run to get that set up. So if you go down to, I believe it's under connection instructions.
I think it was under
required system software. And go under Mac TN3270. There's this video, and then there's this option number 2. This right here is a guide for how to set up X or C3270. Here's this nice script you can download, and basically all it does is it installs some basic tools on your Mac, some command line tools like compilers and Git and stuff like that. And then it runs a configure on the script, enabling just C3270. And then it builds it, and then you can run it. So I'm just going to show you kind of what that looks like. You all good?
Yeah, no comments so far, Jeff.
Okay, good. So this is just a regular Mac terminal, not a C3270 terminal. Monorail is the name of my computer, in case you're wondering what that is. And I'm in my downloads folder. I've already downloaded this script, and all I need to do to run it is I need to run it as the super user. So sudo, that's super user, do, zsh, that's the name of the shell I'm going to use, and then the name of the script itself is install c3270. I think I might have renamed it. It might just come down as install.sh. But you can look at it. We're not sneaking anything malicious in there. It basically just says, do I have Xcode or developer tools? If not, install them. Do I have the package for X3270? If not, go get it. And then compiles it. So this will probably complain and say that I've already done it, or maybe not. I'm going to type in my password here. If I can, there it is.
Don't share it. Just an expert tip there.
Thank you. See, it's checking for Xcode. It's like, no, Jeff, you don't have Xcode. And then it's going to come back and do some other stuff. So I do want to point out, I'm actually not on the latest version here, but this will look the same no matter what, unless you're using like a really old version of Mac OS. Then it will bomb out and say, your Mac is too old. There is a certain amount of irony to us doing this.
Oh yeah, what's that?
The whole backwards compatibility thing. Because one of the strengths of X or Z is that, if you wrote something to the mainframe specification at any point in its timeline, it will run today, just as it did then. It won't have the fanciest features. It might not run optimized, but if it depends on something else that went away. But code is backwards compatible over the entire lifespan. And to illustrate that, we first have to do a workaround to get stuff to work on the Mac. I thought that was just a little bit ironic.
I think it's very demonstrative of the value of Z in that you only have to upgrade your applications if you find value in doing so. We don't make you do it.
Yeah, let me turn off the noise gate on this microphone. I realize it's gating out a little bit. There we go. So now you're going to hear all the background noise, but we won't gate out as much. So if you look at the, I can take these off too, actually. Although now I can't hear my radio voice in the cans. If you look through the stuff here, you can see I've already done a make before. I've done install stuff. So now that I've done all that, I can go. I can actually type my c3270 as a program and start running that.
We do have our first question.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right. Can I use my Vista TN3270 that I got from my COBOL class?
Yes, because you're on a Windows machine.
Okay.
Yep. Although I think with Windows now you can actually install like Linux programs. So if you really want to, you could be just like us here. But yeah, I mean the natively compiled applications look a little bit nicer than what we're about to do. But I want to show you that it can be done.
How does he input the IP address into his Vista?
Oh, wait, I'm just about to do that. Someone's 2 minutes ahead of the game, so kudos. So watch this. So the way this works is it's not like a program that you launch and then put in the IP address. And so somebody probably already did that and they're like, wait, where do I put it in? It's a command line thing. It actually runs within the terminal, which is kind of weird if you're like alt-tabbing and looking for the program. You won't see C3270 pop up. So I'm going to run it like this, C3270. And then the IP address, which, if my notes are correct, is 192. And yes, that is a 192 address. .86.32.91 is the IP address of the system that we're running off right now. And I haven't seen it. Has anybody complained they can't read my screen yet?
No one's complained.
Okay, good. I have tried to make things as large font and small screen as possible. So hopefully this is the pushing it to the limits right here. That's how you enter the IP address. And you can see this is actually running inside a terminal. It's not its own native program or anything like that. So, of course it runs on whatever version of Mac we're on right here. So now I can log into the system. Now, I make sure to stress this all the time. The best way to move around the screen is not using your mouse or your arrows or anything else like that. Use your tab key. And you can see it's going between like 4 different places that you're actually allowed to enter text. So we want to make sure we're entering text right down here on the bottom left-hand corner.
And Jeff,
yes,
of all the events that I've helped organize, 80% of the problems people have had would have been solved if they used the tab key.
Use the tab key.
Use the tab key.
That's going to be next year's T-shirt. Just use the tab key.
I love that.
So I'm going to log on here, and I just happen to remember that my logon is Z99971. So I'm going to type logon space Z99971, and I'm going to hit enter. And now I have to enter my password. And I went ahead and changed my password ahead of time so it will reset just like yours has been reset. So it's saying, okay, if you see this screen after here, that means I logged in correctly. This is what I wanted to execute. I'm going to go ahead and enter. And it says, oh, no, my password expired. What am I going to do now? I'm going to enter a new password. So over here on the right side of the screen, you can see it automatically placed my cursor there. That's nice and simple. I can type my new password. And let's think of a new password. That one works. And it took it, and it says, please re-enter the new password again. Cool. So because the screen is moving here, that means that I'm continuing to log in. It's allocating a bunch of data sets, getting a bunch of stuff ready. I don't know how this color is showing up, but anytime you see X system on the bottom of the screen, that means the system is working on something, and you just have to be patient. And conversely, anytime you see those 3 asterisks,
It's close enough.
those 3 stars at the bottom.
The splats.
Splats. The splats. I got in trouble for calling them splats. Someone said that's not very professional.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever.
I said asterisk sounds like you're a cop. So anytime you see the 3 splats, that's like, hey, I'm all done. I'm waiting for you, buddy. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter. And whenever I say enter, I mean return on a Mac. And it's, again, X. And now we're at this amazing screen here. This is the ISPF screen. Now, all this stuff is covered in the instructions over here. And I could go through them line by line, but I just happen to know how these first ones go here. So that's how I'm doing it. For completing part 1, the Master of the Mainframe contest this year has a lot of stuff that's not hands-on. So in the past, people have kind of finished the contest and be like, yeah, I typed a bunch of stuff, but I wasn't really sure exactly what happened. We have all these great videos out here featuring some amazing people, done by some all right people. And,
stop it.
Thank you.
Yes, a bunch of those videos were made by Jeff himself.
Sitting right here.
Yeah.
And you can go through these and learn about like what the mainframe is. And you can actually run through this video right here, this Master of the Mainframe Part 1 walkthrough. And I'm going to do pretty much what we do in there. But that was recorded over the period of quite a while. So here I'm doing it live on a tightrope. So we're going to have to go through all these things right here in order to finish Part 1 of the mainframe. So let's do that. So.
And each one of these twisties, though, is another thing, right?
Yep. Each one of these is like a step in the thing. So we have the 3070 emulator installed. We have configured it to the IP address. We have started the session. We have just logged in, and it looks kind of like this. We changed our password, all that stuff. We saw that. We said have fun. We saw those 3 dots. A couple tips and tricks. So if you hear me say, or if you read about like hit F7, hit F9, and you're looking down at your keyboard and like, I don't have those keys, it's probably because, keyboards have gotten smaller over time. If you look at like a programmer's keyboard, it has lots and lots of keys, especially for a gamer, you probably have those function keys. But on a laptop, sometimes those function keys are also used for like sound up and down or to put the system to sleep, stuff like that. So on a Mac, since we're actually talking specifically about Mac here, if you hold down the function key, bottom left corner of your Mac, this is on like newer Macs that has the touchpad or even a MacBook Pro, you'll see those function keys. And you have to hold down that function key plus the function key. This doesn't make sense in order to actually use that function. So if I'm saying hit F8 to page down, you have to hold down the function key and F8 unless you go in and...
You mean the number 8?
The number 8. Well, not the number 8. The number that says, the key that says F8. It's actually...
Oh, they're way up there.
Up and to the right of where the number 8 is.
I see.
Yep. Yeah, so don't just sit there mashing the function and the 8 key. That function plus 8 does not equal function 8.
Okay.
So you actually got the function keys on there.
I see. You got like this little display thing.
Yeah, it's I kind of don't like it because I can never tell when I'm hitting the escape button enough for it to actually be escape. But this is the first world of first world problems. So I'm going to move on here. So from the home screen, we're going to navigate to, we're already at ISPF here. What you're looking at over yonder, this is ISPF, the Interactive System Productivity Facility.
Really?
What do I win?
Respect. I've been doing mainframes for 28 years. I started on ISPF and I had no clue. I know that TSO is time sharing option.
Right. Yep.
/E extended.
Extended. Yes.
But ISPF was just a word to me.
Exactly. Yeah. Like SDSF and system display and search facility.
Support facility or search facility?
We can actually find that out by going into option S. I bet. Nope, I can't. Okay. Let's go back here. Actually, we have to log. Oh, I didn't mean to log out.
What are you doing?
I'm just going all over the place. I'm logging out and logging back in.
Folks, don't do this at home.
Do not do what I did. Log on. Z99971. Is this where it falls apart?
Yeah, this is where you go off script and we get into trouble.
Okay, so we're logging back in. Let's see what the instructions have us doing. I bet I have 3 dots here, almost. So we are going to actually kick off the JCL to allocate the Part 1 data sets. Basically, all of these challenges that we have you doing something with data sets, which are kind of like files, kind of like folders. There's a handy video about that. And to allocate, to put those data sets out there, we have you run a job. And that's actually part of part one, is submitting a job in part one. So right here on our page, it says TSO submit. And I can copy this because I am lazy. And as you know, I have a tendency to type things wrong. And I'm going to paste that right down here. Now, there's a couple other steps you can take to customize your ISPF screen. You'll notice that in the example, the option thing is up here and mine is down here. I happen to like it down here. I'm going to keep it that way. So I'm going to type, or actually paste this out. And what this really breaks down to is I'm telling the time sharing option, which, as Bisti pointed out, is a component of ZOS, and then submit. So, hey, TSO, here's the thing. And the thing is this job located within this data set. And I'm going to tell it to go ahead and run that. And it's going to come back and say, enter job name characters. Now, all this is doing right now is saying, I need something to kind of differentiate this from all the other jobs that are running on the system right now. So we're just going to give it an A. Just A. We got 3 stars, and it says the job is submitted. Going to hit enter. And this is what I really care about right here. Max condition code 0000. You can't get any more 0 with 4 characters than 4 zeros, right? That means there are no problems. Everything ran exactly as expected. If you got like an 8, that's really bad. If you got a 4, that's something went wrong. You should probably check your work. But 0, that's good. That's saved by 0. That's who did that?
Oh gosh, saved by 0.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's an annoying Toyota car. Anyway. But yeah, that's a good. It's a good song. It's a good sign too. You got the 0. That means everything ran well. So we have our data sets out there. We can verify that they're out there by going into. So here's the thing about ISPF. This is like a menu. It's like a nested hierarchical menu. Okay, I was just reading some of the chat. I shouldn't do that. I can navigate this menu by going to the main option, which is up here. So if I wanted to go to 3 for utilities, I would hit 3. And then if I wanted to go into like DS list, which is where we're going to go, I think. Yeah, I can hit 4. And that's cool. But I already know that I want to go to 3, and I don't need to look at that screen in the middle to know that I want to go to 4. So I'm going to hit F3. There's that function key thing, to go back to that main screen. And instead of typing 3, enter, and then 4, enter, I can actually, well, I'm not saving myself a keystroke because I'm just hitting period instead of enter. I can type 3.4 and go right to that option. And 3.4, the DS list utility, it's a pretty common ISPF utility where you use it to look at all your data sets and stuff like that. So what are we doing when we're in here? We're going to go into 3.4. And then we want to look at the data set name level, the DS name level, Z, whatever. Mine is Z99971. So that's in there. I'm going to hit enter. And these are the data sets. Some of these already existed there when we came in, like I believe these last 3 maybe. But the sequential, and the PDS and the load, those got allocated when we ran that first job there. So we're looking good. So far, we're like 3 out of 8.
That's pretty great. I also want to point out that data sets is the mainframe way of saying files. Sort of. It's actually folder of files, right?
It's kind of both.
Kind of both.
Yeah, and there's a video on there that kind of gets into the difference. Some people say, oh, it's just a file, and then it's like, well, what about this? Like, well, okay, not exactly.
Yeah.
But there's sequential data sets, there's partition data sets, there's VSAM data sets. They all exist for a reason, and there's so many different reasons because there's so many different ways to use data.
Exactly.
What a fun and magical place we are in here. And I mean that without a hint of sarcasm, actually. The more I learned about just all this stuff that seems somewhat trivial, it's there for a reason. Helps everything run faster. So we got all that stuff. Now we're going to use ISPF to view a Unix file path and files. whoa, Jeff, what's going on? We're in Unix now? Why is there Unix in ZOS? That's a great question. So, why do I keep trying to log out? Can I set VF3 and go back? I think I can. Yes. Okay.
You did it again.
I did it
what
again.
What are you doing?
Okay. It's that darn touchpad thing. Okay.
Oh.
It's easy to double tap on there. So within ZOS, ZOS is one of the mainframe, IBM Z specific operating systems. On the mainframe, you can also run Linux, TPF. You can run what's that other one? There's ZVM, and there's other ones. There's one that's particular that I can't remember right now.
TPF?
No, I said TPF.
You said TPF.
There's that other one. There's other operating systems you can run, but
VSE.
VSE, yes.
I knew something you couldn't remember.
One of the 5 VSE.
One for Misty out of 100.
One of the 5 VSE people is going to get mad at me now. Come at me. So there comes a reason to use Unix within ZOS, because you don't want to say, well, you can either use ZOS or you can use Unix, because Unix is a wonderful environment to work in. So what ZOS has is a fully implemented POSIX or POSIX compliant Unix environment within ZOS. It's not a virtual operating system. It's not an emulator. It doesn't kick up a spare cycle or anything like that. It's actually just implementing the API. So if you want to do an LS, you can do it within the Unix operating system. And kind of like a Unix file system, you have slashes separating the directories. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go into 3.4 again. And in the DS name level area, notice I'm using my tab key, I'm going to go into /Z/Z99971. And there's probably going to be stuff in here that, okay, cool. It looks like I cleared it out. So I have my shell history, and I have a dot and 2 dots. Dots means here, 2 dots means go back a level. So these are just logical representers, and this is a file with everything I've typed in here. Cool. We can see our stuff. It kind of looks similar to what we see up here, except I have the shell because I already logged in. To get back to the main screen, that main ISPF screen, I can type return. And that brings us back to the root of ISPF. So, look, we're moving. Look how close we are to the end here.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, to get into that amazing Unix utility, you type the letter U. And that should bring us here. Now, little pro tip. I saw some people run into this at the Farmingdale thing. If you hit U and ISPF is like, hey, I don't know what to do with that, that's probably because you logged out of ISPF and then came back in. If you do that, it doesn't run the ISPF setup profile, and all those shortcuts aren't there. If that's the case, and you watch this video, you can force it to get in there without the shortcut by typing TSO OMVS. You wouldn't type it here because you're already there, but that's how you would do it if you were stuck on the main screen. So because we're here, we have a Unix environment, and I can type things like ls, and there's nothing here. If I do ls-a, I should probably see that shell history right there. If I do touch hello, I'm making a file called hello, and there it is. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So there it is. Now we have a Unix shell right here in ZOS. And what's really nice is I don't have to zip things up and FTP and back and forth between the 2 operating systems, because there's no 2 operating systems. This is just an environment within ZOS. So we can actually pass files back and forth between the 2. And that's what we're going to do for the kind of the rest of this thing here. Any questions in the chat channel? Are people having fun?
No, but I have to tell you, our friend Tom remembered Saved by Zero is the fix.
The fix. Of course it's the fix.
Right?
Famous for such other hits as... Come on, Tom.
Yeah. I told him thank you for naming the earworm I'm going to have in my head for the rest of the day.
There was a summer when that was like every other commercial, and it was
Really?
every single commercial during the MLB season. It was terrible.
There was a summer before you were born when it was on the radio because we didn't have other ways of listening to music, and it came around all the time.
Okay. Oh, man. So we're going to start entering these Unix commands. So we're going to enter date as shown, and that's just the word date. And it says today is Monday, November 4th. It actually says 226 because this system is in Dallas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yep. And we get that output just like that. We can also do other Unix stuff like date, which we know it's going to give the exact same output except a couple seconds later. And then we're going to redirect that output using this greater than operator here into a file. And we can actually call it a file because we're in the Unix space, P1. So we're not going to see the output here. It's just going to go right into there. Wow. Now, because we're on the internet, we're going to bring cats into this. There's a command called cat, which is short for concatenate. Cat says, show me everything within the thing I'm about to point you to. And I'm being purposely vague there because you can use it for things other than just files. So I'm going to type cat p1. And the output that could have come out to our screen before is now shot out to our screen. I don't have the load, but I did exactly what you told me. Have something go. Okay.
I had asked if they were following along, and Jacob says that he has everything else but the load.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll figure that out later. So now we have the output that should have came out before. You can see it's like 48 seconds later. So it took us 48 seconds to get there. I think it's a good use of our time. We did the cat p1. And now another command, the Unix cp or copy command. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy that file we just made, that p1 file, and we're going to copy it from the Unix side over to the ZOS side. And there's a couple of fancy delimiters we have to put in there so that the system actually knows I'm talking about a PDS and not just something on the Unix side. So single quote / PDS dot data P1 with a closing parenthesis there. And this will copy this file, that's the first operand, to the second operand, which is this PDS. Let's make sure that happens. It looks like it happened. No reason it shouldn't have. And if it was there, it probably should have overwritten it. So now that that's over there, we can issue another cat command. You can never get enough cats on these internet videos. So I'm going to type in cat, that same thing we just put up here, pds.data p1. And this should issue, this should go grab the data that's in that PDS, that P1 that we just created or just copied over there, and spit it out to the screen. So this should look exactly the same as that other one with the 48-second thing at the end of it. Hallelujah. There it is. Look at that. So now we have shown that we can create something on the Unix side of things, copy it over to a PDS on the ZOS side, and then can cat that file, view the file back on the Unix side, even though it's now lives, well, a copy of it now lives on the ZOS side. That's pretty neat. That took me like 3 years to figure out like the significance of and how it works when I started working on Z. So seeing it all in one place, sped up over the course of like 5 minutes. We're going 88 miles an hour right there. So enter exit to terminate the ZOS Unix shell session. So let's get out of here by typing exit. The session has ended. Press enter to end OMVS. OMVS stands for?
Open MVS,
yes.
multiple virtual systems.
Good. Oh, that was going to be my part 2 of the question. We have recursive acronyms. So we've exited. We got all that. We're going to go back into 3.4. Let's see what we're going to do. Session ended. Yep. Make sure that P1 was copied into the partition data set. And we can do that by going into 3.4. And instead of looking in the Unix side of things, we're going to use our tab key and go back to Z99971. Yeah. And let's see, we put that into the PDS.data, I believe. So, oops, I did a bad thing. I used my arrow key. I'm going to set an example and use my tab key. And we put that into the PDS.data. So I want to edit this. So I'm going to use an E over here on the left side. Anything you put in the command section over here, that is the command you want to do on the thing to the right. We're going to edit that. Oh, look, there's this little P1 thing out there. Huh. I wonder what's in that. We can select that member using the S key. So let's do that. We're going to tab down to the P1, hit the S. What do you think is in here? Maybe like a date and a time, something like that, with like a 4D8 at the end of it, perhaps? Hey, look at that. Cool. So now we have verified like 8 different ways that we can create a data set and move it over and all that stuff, and it works. Okay. That's the end. Well, no, that's technically not the end. Going to hit return and go back to ISPF. So we are almost finished with the hands-on portion of part 1. It might not seem like a lot, but you've really traversed like a whole lot of OMVS, of ISPF, and now you've laid the groundwork to do a whole lot more. In order to get credit for completing part 1, you have to have the right data sets out there, like the thing that's in part 1. And there's also a number of multiple choice questions based on some of the content that's presented in the earlier part of part 1. So in order to actually say, hey, I want to get credit for part 1, you have to actually do the hands-on stuff, and you have to answer those questions. I'm gonna do something sneaky here. Watch this. I'm not gonna give away the answers. Don't worry. Watch this. I think I can do this. So I'm gonna type TSO. Hey TSO, I got something for you to do. P1 quiz. Run that program. Will this show if I do this? Oh no! I'm off the bottom of the screen. Oh no! Oh, look at that.
I see what you're doing there.
So we've got 11. I'm actually going to wait until this updates to make sure that. So we've got 11 questions out here, and these will actually help you understand like a little bit better. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. What a mainframe does, why Z is important, especially like some of like the power and virtualization stuff. So let's just go through some of these, and maybe some topics of conversation will come up. So question 1 of 11, what size rack does the newest mainframe live in? And I'm so glad that this answer is still the same answer after the Z15. So 16-inch rack, nothing lives in a 16-inch rack, right? 25-inch sounds pretty big. 36 is huge. I know that 19-inch is the industry standard size IT rack. So I'm going to guess that it's. I have a guess. Let's just say I have a guess.
You're not going to show it
I have
to
a guess.
Because people have to learn something in order to finish part 1. And
I have to. Nobody saw that.
and feed 2 children for a day. Remember?
Right, Misty. Why don't you talk a little more about that feeding 2 children for a day thing?
Yeah, new this year, we have decided to partner with the UN World Food Program so that we will make a donation in honor of every person that finishes part 1. And that donation, your 1 hour of finishing part 1, is not only great for you to learn something new, but you'll also be feeding 2 children for a day.
Can't beat that.
Yeah, really. It is great.
Yep.
I love it.
It's a good.
You know what it is?
What?
It's I'm in a position to spend IBM's money on stuff that I think is worthwhile. So spend IBM's money. Do this part 1, finish it, and spend our money.
Yep. Please spend our money. Cool.
All right. Let's answer some more questions.
Let's get through some more of these. I think this will be fun. Question 2 of 11. What specialty engines will you find on a modern mainframe? This is kind of neat because not only is the mainframe just full of processors, newest one has 190, something like that. There's all these specialty processors that like help it do like compression, encryption, all this stuff like faster than just like a normal processor. So the mainframe has a bunch of specialty processors. We've got SAP, ZIP, and ACP. That's a possible answer. There's also ZIP, the IIP, WOR, and SAP. We got an IFL, an ICP, or ICF, and a ZIP.
Yeah.
Yep. And lastly, an ICF, an SAP, and a WKRP.
In Cincinnati.
WKRP. So I'm gonna, a little hint. I'm probably not D. I have a. You can't see that. Okay, good.
I'll give him another hint.
Yeah.
When I was a development manager, we were developing zips.
Oh.
Yeah.
So your answer probably has zips.
Probably has zip in it.
Yep. Cool. Number 3 of 11. The mainframe is unique in that it has a large amount of what in one place. Now, normally this is the part where Uncle Jeff would give a tip for how to take a test that has an all of the above type answer. I'm just going to go ahead and put that one in there. Okay. Question number 4 of 11. According to Esmeralda in this amazing video, why does the mainframe need another computer within its frame?
Oh.
It's
my favorite answer on there is so it doesn't get lonely. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I think that would be funny if that was the thing.
You know what? I have to tell you, though, mainframes are not that sensitive.
They really are.
They're not that emotionally fragile.
Nope. Stick them in the dark, feed them work, and they're pretty happy.
Yeah, we pretty much neglect them and leave them alone, and they run forever.
That should not go on a bumper sticker or a T-shirt next year.
Neglect your mainframe.
Neglect your mainframe.
It likes it.
Question number 5. In the IBM Big Green Server Consolidate... Oh, I might not remember the answer to this one. Section of the linked Red Book. An effort to migrate 3,900 servers onto 30 IBM Z mainframes by using mainframes instead of servers. By using mainframes instead of servers, they were able to use blank less energy. I have a guess.
I have a guess, too, but I'm not sure enough to give a tip. It's a lot. I know that.
Oh, it is a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot.
Is it a lot, or is it a kind of a lot?
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I don't know why I doubted it. Okay.
You know why? Because you always think that they kind of put the right answer in the middle somewhere.
Right. Yep. It's actually 120%. It actually generates energy. Not true. Not at all true.
And you had me going, what?
That's part of the...
Because there are some data centers where they take the heat off of the mainframe and they recycle it into the building so they don't have to pay for a separate heating system.
Which is awesome. I love that aspect of infrastructure.
And there was one place that actually uses the heat off of the mainframe to generate electricity. To run a
little
small
steam
power
turbine?
Yeah, a little steam turbine.
Nice. I love it. I didn't realize the microphone was in the way.
Off and on.
Yeah, off and on. Question 6 of 11. In the virtualization video, the unused resources on servers is referred to as... Oh, there's a lot of great answers in here. Whoever made up these fake answers is great, but I have an idea. Okay. Now this one I'm probably not going to remember. So there's this part out here where you have to go out to the Schneider Electric website. And what's interesting about this is the Schneider Electric website, it's how you calculate how much electricity you need to run your data center. So if you were going to say, hey, I just won the lottery, I'm going to start a company with a big data center, how much electricity do I need? And I'm going to I'm going to have 8,000 servers and this many disk storage units, or I'm going to have one mainframe and half of that. You actually get to put in how many resources you have, how fast the processors are, all that kind of stuff. And it says, yeah, this is about what size you'll need. So this is not an IBM thing, and I love this because it's basically saying this is what you need to power your data center. And you get to trade in servers for mainframe, which is, what gets better than that. So again, I have an idea. There's something where it stays flat. And this is 1,000 servers, standalone servers, and for one mainframe. Does it stay flat? Does it increase? Does it decrease? Let's see. And again, there's various test-taking logic. Got it right the first time there. What operating system does not currently run on the mainframe? Mac OS, Z/OS, Linux, or ZTPF?
Well, we know anything with a Z is us.
Because
we're Z everything all the time.
That's a good guideline to go by.
You want to tell them what the Z stands for?
I kind of want to, but I've also heard that's not true.
What?
Yeah, I've heard that's just something people have made up over time. But Tell your friends it stands for zero downtime.
Okay, listen, I was the release manager for ZOS 1.1,
And
that is what
for?
they told me when I was managing.
Okay.
I'm not a marketing person, and you would not believe the amount of fighting that happens in development over what to name these things. So
The one
I stay
stand for,
out of those fights.
Infinite.
Yeah.
So, I have a guess here. Oh, look. Oh, cool. All right. Other options could have been like DOS or Z or, BOS.
Yeah.
There's no BSD port. I'm surprised.
Oh.
Question 9 of 11, ZVM does not need to run on another operating system to provide virtualization, so it can be referred to as a type what? Hypervisor. A type what? Hypervisor. So if you run like VMware or something like that, you basically install VMware on top of Mac OS or Windows or Linux or whatever. So you have your Linux, and then on top of it you have VMware, and then within that you can run your other operating system. And that's a type something hypervisor. The fact that it doesn't need an operating system below it means that it's called a type this hypervisor. Question 10, which of the following is not an example of middleware? And we've got message queue, database, transaction manager, and Linux kernel. And if you watch the video on middleware, you'll find out that the answer is this.
So I guess we're not giving them a tip other than you can just click back and watch the video.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. It's hard to dance around that one.
Okay.
Question 11 of 11. Which transaction manager did the 17-year-old van der Waal twins use to build their custom end-to-end solution, where they were selling longboarding equipment? It's a very interesting use case showing how like IBM middleware, mainframe middleware, and cloud stuff just kind of works together. And the mainframe can help extend the cloud can help extend the mainframe. It's all one big happy family. So here's some examples of something that might be middleware. I'm going to give that a hint right now, that Hard Target, the movie starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, is a fantastic movie that somebody might want to watch.
So in order to answer this question, you're going to make me go watch a whole movie?
Yes. Well, you're gonna at least think of a famous 90s movie actor in order to rule out one of these answers, named Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I see. I see.
So now you're down to 3. And I think we mentioned a certain operating system earlier. So now you're down to 2.
Right?
Yep. So I'm going to enter in my guess now. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Congratulations. You successfully completed part 1. Part 2 is waiting for you. I got 3 stars there. That means I get to hit enter, and I'm back to ISPF. I just finished part 1 of the mainframe contest, and I have fed two children. I'm
sorry, Jeff. That's only for students.
Oh, I'm sorry, kids.
We need all of you to do part 1 because, we don't qualify for any of the prizes.
Yeah. I hope people found that interesting and fun.
Yeah, well, I had fun. Anytime I get to hang out with you, Jeff, is a good time.
Oh, thank you. But that's part 1 of Master the Mainframe contest. If you said it's too hard or I can't get this terminal emulator installed, like we just showed you how to do it. It's not terribly hard.
In the chat is a link to the Slack group, and we do, our team is in there as well as lots of volunteers and people that are huge Master the Mainframe fans hang out in there and answer questions for you.
Yep.
So you can always get help. I also threw in a link to our brand new community, which is really more supposed to be social and fun rather than just helping with specific challenges.
Right.
And we have a new Throwback Thursday challenge out there. And with the usual rules of Throwback Thursday, you could be throwing back to last week. It doesn't have to be 10 years old. Just throw in your memories or your comments.
Just nothing from the future. Nothing from the future.
No, that would be Flash Forward Friday.
You know what I saw this weekend? Technically, the movie Blade Runner takes place in the past now.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And wasn't the
I know what you're gonna say.
Terminator was also now
Yes.
in the future in Terminator is now the past.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, but they fixed that by changing the timeline.
Anytime you just fork off a timeline, you can just
See?
say, that's that timeline.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
all you
man.
need to do.
And if you want to hear the fix, what
Yeah.
was the song?
Saved by Zero.
Saved by Zero. I mean, you're already on YouTube. You can, after you hit the little thumbs up and share this and put some comments, go listen to Saved by Zero by The Fix. No, actually before that, a brand new episode of Terminal Talk.
Oh, yes.
World famous Mainframe podcast, Terminal Talk, is talking all about Z15 compression. It's a good episode. You should listen to that.
Lots of great technical stuff that you'll be able to learn with this really fun guy and more fun guests. A lot of fun banter that makes it interesting to learn and enjoyable.
Yeah. I think we should probably close things before we
Yeah.
get in trouble.
Before we say something that gets us fired,
Yes.
give us time.
Let me just find the window over here. Well, thank you for joining. Again, if you have any questions or you want to follow up with anything, message us on Slack. We're always hanging out there. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Peace out.